Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Shark House Entertainment, and I am your host, Brian Gatto. Oh yeah, another video for today. I really should have set this up a little bit better, but I've got it done. So let's just get right into it. Um, one moment, please. I'm just trying to get my thumbnail ready, which I did have a thumbnail made already. I just didn't put it as such. So yeah, all the details are correct. Okay, so this is a 2023 album ranking video, which I probably should have made the title at the same time of trying to get this video ready. These are basically 15 albums, all 15 albums that I listened to this year and enjoyed from least to greatest. Now, yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. And I'm doing this live as well as recording it, just in case this messes up and I can go back and edit some stuff. I'm not going to do that too much. But there is actually a contest in this video as well. Now, uh, this contest is to win an album from one of the bands that are actually featured in this video. One moment, sorry. Oh, so the album you can win um, it's a very simple contest actually. First of all you have to do is comment below on what your favorite album of the ones I listed in this video for this year was or is, and you have to like the video, subscribe, and be a subscriber. If you want to share, that's also awesome. Not required though. So you got to comment, like, and subscribe to win the album. The album in question is, I got a second copy of it by accident, so here it is. Autopsies, Ashes, Blood, Organs, and Crypts. Do I have Ashes, Organs, Blood, and Crypts? This is their latest death metal album. I turn the light so you can see it better. Whoa, it shines. It'll fade out. Yeah, look at that view. It's brand new, sealed, and I already have a copy of it. So this one, whoever wants it, first come, first serve. Rules are you have to be in the U.S. and I'll ship it out to you for free. I can't ship it out overseas or anything. So U.S. citizens only, and you must be 18 years or older, because this is a pretty brutal album. I know it's kind of tacky at this point to say that. You could just say you're 18, right? But it kind of gives me the clear, so I guess that works out. Anyway, let's dive right into it. Now, disclaimer, I think I already mentioned this. These albums are listed in a way where they're the ones I enjoyed from least to greatest. I actually loved all these albums. Some more than others, of course, but they're all right here. But I also have a picture of them up here so you can have a nice look at their fun artwork. I might not show some of them because they're pretty violent, uh, but I might do it anyways. Who cares? I do. YouTube does. So let's respect the YouTube gods. And let's begin. Number 15. Let me just pull up my list right here because I want to keep track of what number I'm on. That'll help. And hopefully it stays open. Yeah, so number 15 is Obituaries, Dying of Everything. Now, this is a monumental album and a great one for the band. The last album they had was in 2017. It was a self-titled. This is, I believe, their 11th album? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. 11th album, beautiful artwork. I forgot who the artwork was done by, but they recently passed away this year, and he made this beautiful piece for an album that came out this year. So I think it was one of his last, if not his last piece. Beautiful. You can even see a tiny little guy there down at the bottom. That's a big. See, it's mirrored, so it's kind of hard to do the right. That's a huge dick. Oh, great. What are we? 5 minutes in, first dick joke. I'm sorry. Anyway, so Obituaries, Dying of Everything, great album. I've never been the biggest fan of John Tardy's vocals. I don't hate them; they're just not my favorite. And also another disclaimer: I might butcher some people's names, might get them wrong. I'm terrible with names. So I know this one's John Tardy as the vocals. John is one of the friendliest guys in death metal, as I've heard, or so I've heard. So yeah, definitely check out this album. Great, great album. One thing I did have to say was that it sounds a bit I wouldn't say echoed, like echoey, but it is a bit too distant in some of the vocal patterns and vocal style. It's very pushed in the foreground and background. It's like trying to tug at you. And it works sometimes and it doesn't work a lot of the time, but I do think it's still good vocals. I just wish they didn't do that effect on them. Anyway, alright, number 14 is not a death metal album, actually. It's a fun album from Tigers of Pantang, Bloodlines. This is, I believe, 2023. Let me double check that because it says 2023 on the back, but I looked through all the stuff I listened to. I didn't see it. This is actually a very last minute ad. Because I was like, oh yeah, 2023. Yeah, May 5th, 2023. But Tigers of Pantang. Never heard about them until this album. I was drawn in by the cover art. Look at that beautiful piece. I bought the album, and it's very good. Good vocals. There's a weird filtered vocal effect. It sounds like he's screaming or singing through a funnel. In the first couple tracks, I think. Then there's songs like Back for Good, which to me sounded a lot like Alice Cooper's 18. That song 18 by Alice Cooper. But still a good track. Taste of Love, the next song after that is really good. Edge of the World is probably the most edgy, pun intended, of the bunch. But this is their 13th album, so my gosh. They've been around since the 80s. Let's see here. Go back to the screen. Alright, so next up we have number 13. This is a comeback album for a band who switched vocalists. Frank Mullen of Suffocation was the original vocalist for all first 8 albums. They came out with the 9th one, Hymns of Apocrypha. Hymns of Apocrypha is the 9th album, and Frank Mullen ain't on it. They got a new vocalist, I don't remember his name, very deep guttural inhales. And they're going to take some time to get used to. Also, they're drowned out by a lot of the sounds of the instruments. So it's kind of a hit or miss, I feel. Some tracks are great, really, I have to say. But other ones, like, you can't decipher them. It's like, what's one that I did? I think, what was it? Seraphim. I'm not going to try to pronounce some of these names, but yeah. It's a fun album. It's Suffocation coming back. New vocalist, same style. Not the vocalist. He has similar technique, but not the same style as Frank Mullen. It's a. Oops. I should have probably taken Tigers of Pantang off there. This is going to be a fun stream, you guys. Because it's Suffocation's turn to be up there. And look at the awesome album artwork. I think it's done by Dan Seagrave. I could be wrong, but it screams Seagrave to me. He did album covers for like Morbid Angel and stuff like that, like Altars of Madness. And the original Suffocation album, I believe, had Dan Seagrave. The first few, I believe. Maybe all of them. I'm pretty sure it's Dan Seagrave. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, yeah. Then we have another non-death metal album. This is actually this guy's 29th album. He's been around since the late 60s. That is, if you couldn't tell already, Alice Cooper and his album Road. Great finish. First half is a little rough. I'm Alice. Like, okay, cool, you're Alice. Magic Bus is a fun song. White Lake, Blind Frankenstein, 100 More Miles. There's some good stuff here. And then there's some okay stuff. But the good stuff is really good. It screams Old Alice. And I love this artwork. It's why it's the prominent one featured on the thumbnail. Killer stuff. It's Alice Cooper. It's the same stuff it's been for a very long time. But still, really good. Next one is actually a double dip. Not because I'm showing the same album twice, but I'm showing two re-recordings twice. This is both Cavalier's Morbid Visions and B-Style Devastation. Get out of the way of that one. Yeah. These two bad boys are re-recordings of Sepultura's first two albums. Oh, no, sorry. Sepultura's first album and first EP. Max, I forgot his last name. He's back on the vocals, and it's awesome. Excellent re-recordings. I wouldn't really consider them fresh and original albums because they're not. They're re-recordings, but they're done in such a way that make them stick out amongst the sea of death metal, thrash metal, rock that came out this year. I love them. Excellent stuff. Really cool to see these artworks also revamped, because now they're updated for modern listeners. Next up, we have a band I'm actually fairly new with. This is their 8th album. I forgot when the last one came out, but it was a while ago. This is Cryptopsies as Gomorrah Burns. Wow. Now, believe it or not, it's pretty obvious. I love the old school death metal. I've been listening to the first album, Blasphemies Made Flesh, a hell of a lot. Not really this one too much. I have listened to it. And you can tell it's the same style. There's some goofy bass work, which it's goofy but badass at the same time, so it really is cool. And this one has that kind of humor about it, but it's still not supposed to be a comedic death metal album. It works. It really, really works. The vocals are a bit... I feel like there's some screams in there. They fit, but they also seem out of place in a way where you could do with or without them. But the vocals as a whole are really good. Cryptopsy's a great band. I'm just very new to them. Then we have a band I'm a little familiar with. I'm still newer with them. Not as new as Cryptopsy. I have been listening to the first 4 albums of this band's discography. I was going to say bibliography, but it's a discography. Really good stuff. Blood Rapture was a great album. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. The first album was cool too. But anyway, Vomitory. All heads are gonna roll. Awesome. Great stuff. It's classic Vomitory. I think it's a new vocalist. I don't think it's a new vocalist, actually. I think it's the same one as the originals. I could be, except for the first album. I think he was on the second till now. Or 2 now, because I think he's still in the band. But this album artwork is what really drew me in. And I was like, it came out this year. I got to add it to the list. I've been listening to a little bit of Vomitory here and there throughout this year. So it fits. It rocks. It slays. All right. Well, now let's move on to the next one. I forgot which one this one was, because I haven't been spewing the numbers. This one is number 8. We have Incantations Unholy Deification. However you want to say it. However it's pronounced. This is gloomy, sludgy, doomy death metal. Awesome stuff. Their 12th album. They've been around since the late 80s. Released the first album, I believe, in 1992. And along with Immolation, which had an album last year, there are 2 great death metal bands that sound similar but different. But Incantation has been knocking it out of the park lately. They've been struggling a little bit, but this one, great album. Great songwriting, catchy songwriting. It's hard to do catchy doom death metal, I feel. Like, it's all very slow and dredging the muck along the swamp floors. Analogies. Great stuff. This has, probably my favorite song on here is Concordat. I'm pretty sure that's how it was. But the weird thing about this album is that they're all numbered. Like, the song titles are numbered, and they're not numbered on the track numbers. They are just not they don't match. So, like for example, song number 1 is the Offerings, the Swarm number 4. Song number 2 is Concordat, the Pact 1. So I think there's only one that actually fits. It's Mega Ron Sunken Chamber 6, which is the 6th track on the album, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I think it's the only one that really fits. Great stuff. I love it. And then this one, another long time awaiting for a new album. Back in 2017, they had their last album, much like Suffocation, and it was a banner. This one is a freaking banner. Dying fetus, make them beg for death. Wow. Uh, and now, Die with Integrity is my favorite song off the last album. This one, Compulsion for Cruelty, Feast of Ashes, Unbridled Fury. Great freaking music. Technical death metal, much like, again, like Suffocation. I love it. The album artwork is retro and vintage as hell. And it reminds me of Round 1 to F with, like the last album, Round 1 to Fuck with. What am I trying to do? Which was a very risky album. The cover art, the title itself, the music video that I tried to do a reaction to. And I said, no, I ain't uploading this because that is pretty fucked up. Yeah. Family fun. Right, now we're moving on to a blackened thrash metal album from a band that's making a comeback. Their last album was, I believe, 2011. They came up with this new one this year. This one's Cruel Force, Dawn of the Axe. Let me shrink that down a little bit. Dawn of the Axe. I loved the EPs leading up to this because they had pieces of this temple, this place of sorts. That had like the skull, the path, the sky, and it all came together for this album artwork that is just beautiful. And I don't know how they did this, but they had like 3 to 4 music videos, all the same style, all the same stuff. Them just jamming out with some purple lighting and fog. And they did it 3 or 4 times, and it never got old because the songs crush. At the Dawn of the Axe was the first one I heard. No, sorry, that wasn't the first one I heard. First one I heard was Night of Thunder. Hooked me instantly. The best song on this album, and arguably the best thrash metal song of the year, is Across the Sticks. Jam that tune out and get back to me, because oh my gosh, I loved it. Wow. Great album. Don't ask me how they did it. They did it. That crazy son of a bitch, they did it. Jurassic Park reference. Anyways, now we're down to the top 5 of the year. Now, I will say, 2 of these will probably shock you. One of those 2 will blow your mind. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be interesting to see you guys' reaction. Anyway, so the next one I have is actually Autopsies, Ashes, Organs, Blood, and Crypts. Autopsies, Ashes, Blood, Organs, and Crypts. I got it wrong because I didn't look. Ashes, Organs, Blood, and Crypts. I had to look. Anyway, this is their. I want to say 10th, but it could be their 9th because Skull Grinder, great EP album. Chris Reifert, the vocalist of this band, considers it an album, so I consider it an album, but not everyone considers Skull Grinder an album, which would be the 8th album. But then they had last year's Morbid Triumphity, whatever. Great album. I loved it. It'd probably be even higher than the number 5 spot in this ranking if it came out this year. This is a solid follow-up only a year later. That is insane. Awesome stuff. Favorite songs, Throat Saw, Well of Entrails is probably my favorite. Toxic Death Fuck. Bones to the Wolves, Rapid Funeral. Great collection of songs. Arguably better than last year's album. I'm not sure. I love Knife Slice Axe Chop. The music video is up there with Dying Fetus's Die with Integrity. It's messed up horror. If you get a chance to watch it, I would. It's a lot less pornographic than Die with Integrity. but it's very gruesome. And all practical effects, baby. Songs are awesome on this album, though. I'd still definitely check it out, especially because of how awesome it is. Now, the first death metal album I ever heard was Cannibal Corpse. Now they're on album number 16. I heard the first album I heard was Vile back in 2010, 11. That was back in 95 when it was released. Been on a kick of them ever since. I love their stuff. This is their latest, Chaos Horrific. This was kind of the one I was afraid to show the album cover for, but it's such a hodgepodge of ideas that it's kind of hard to decipher what it really is. Um, I saw them live. I saw them live with Gorguts, Tomb Mold, Blood Incantation, and Mayhem. Fuck! It's a crazy show. Never been to a death metal album concert before. I'm going to have to go again, but I got really sick after. Very sore. I fell a couple times. I almost lost my glasses. Gotta have to get those little clip-ons next time. But, great show. I recorded some of it. I have posted a short of it. Anyways, back to this album. Summoned for Sacrifice is probably my favorite song. Blood of Blind's great too. Chaos Horrific, Pitchfork Impalement, Drain You Empty, Overlords of Violence, which has a great bass intro. Album, I was going to say album of the year, but I have 3 more to go. But third best death metal album of the year, in my opinion, because not all these next ones are death metal. But brutal. That's brutal. Alright. Oh. Alright. Now we're on to the top 3 of the year. Now here's one that might throw some people off, because a lot of people don't like this album because it deviates from the first 3. I like it. I like that they went in a different direction. This is Tomb Mold's The Enduring Spirit. The Enduring Spirit is masterful in some regards, disappointing in others, for people who wanted the same as the last 3 albums, which are great. They're very good albums. This is something I thought was special. Yeah, it's a great album. Only 7 songs, but each song you feel the weight of the music. It's very prog death metal-y. The original 3 are like old school, doomy, sludgy death metal. This is totally different, but I love it. Great album. Second best death metal album of the year, in my opinion. I could listen to it a whole bunch more, and I will. This is not necessarily my favorite to listen to, but I feel it's a marvel and a masterpiece, so it should be higher than stuff that I would listen to arguably more. Now we're on to my favorite death metal album of the year. Then after that, we have one more album that's my favorite of the year, and you're probably gonna punch my teeth on metal fans because I have it at number 1. Anyway, number 2 is Cattle Decapitation's Terracite. Oh my god! So I was on like a little bit of a Cattle Decapitation, not my thing, speed going on for a while there. I was like, I liked the older stuff. This last one, Death Atlas, didn't really do it for me. But I listened to Terracite with an open mind. Fuck. We Eat Our Young, Terracitic adaptation, The Storm Upstairs. Awesome death metal. Vegan death metal. I'm like, okay, that's also another reason I was kind of like, what? Didn't really get it, especially because the older stuff was really nasty looking. This is a poetic death metal album in a way. It's very potent with vile rage. It's awesome. You gotta listen to it. It's brutal technical death metal. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I think it's definitely a high contender for album of the last year for most people. But let's bring out the dislike bar, shall we? Because number one, and I love this band. Like, you're like, oh, he loves all the brutal, gruesome death stuff, and he likes a little side of rock and roll. He's a cool dude. What if I told you I liked hair metal? I like hair metal. I love Dawkins Heaven Comes Down. Awesome album. I didn't like it at first. That's the craziest thing. I love the first 5 albums, which the 5 for me are Under Lock and Key. Sorry, not Under Lock and Key. Breaking the Chains, Breaking the Change, man. Tooth and Nail, Under Lock and Key, and Dream Warriors. Then Up from the Ashes, because that is a Dawkins album through and through. George, whatever, not on it doesn't mean it's not Dawkins. It's a solo album, whatever. Dawkins to me. Dawkins Heaven Comes Down. Still feels like an old man singing, but damn if it doesn't slay, and damn if he doesn't rock it out. I love the songs, Fugitive, Gypsy, Just Like a Rose, Over the Mountain, I Remember. All the songs are great. And the craziest part is you watch the music video for Fugitive, and Don Dawkins sitting through most of it. And it's a very sad music video. Not because it's got a message about something depressing or upsetting. It's Don's state of health. And that's just the hard-hitting part of it, because he's walking around these little lit-up sets and everything. It's really cool looking, but Don's like, I'm a fugitive from life. And it's sad. And his voice, it shakes sometimes. But I love it. And I find it easier to sing to than the earlier stuff. Sing along with, I mean. The guitars, everything work wonders for this one. George isn't on it. Still feels like Dawkins. Still is Dawkins. So, yeah. Come at me, I don't care. Still, Don's voice is deteriorating to a point where I don't think he's going to make another album. This was an awesome send-off. Santa Fe is a sad tune, I have to say, the closing track. But then there's other songs like I'll Never Give Up. And I'm like, is he just going to do concerts and not give up and not make another album? Is he going to head to Santa Fe and just live the rest of his life? Who knows? I know this album rules. And that's coming from a huge hardcore fan of death metal. So for me to say, oh yeah, Dawkins, my favorite album of the year, the one I hum and listen to the most, blasphemy! But yeah, that's it. Dawkins, Heaven Comes Down, my favorite album of the year. Troll me in the comments. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. What'd you think? I think this came out okay. I'm going to try to do my favorite theatrical films I saw of this year in a video. Hopefully by tomorrow. Maybe tonight. Maybe, I don't know. But really excited to hear your thoughts on what your favorite albums of the year were. And if you agree with any of my ranking choices. It was all over the place, I feel, compared to other rankings, because the types of albums and sounds, music that was in it was just pew, 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 pew. And then even with death metal, it's like pew, 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 pew. All different kinds. So thank you for watching. I've been watching Shark. I made it through the whole video. Thank you all for watching. I've been Brian Gatto, your host of Shark House Entertainment. Good enough. Make sure to hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And as always, subscribe.